And we're here with Wiley Ramey, that I used to work for at San Simeon, and you do Roy Orbison to the ninth degree. Where's your next concert?
Thank you for asking. We're going to perform at San Simeon Lodge on April 22nd, approximately 2 o'clock in the afternoon. There's a motorcycle rally for autism that day. That'll start from Gary Bang, Harley Davidson in Atascadero, and they're going to ride over to the coast, and there's going to be a big barbecue.
Oh, that sounds good.
At San Simeon Lodge.
Well, this is my 53rd anniversary in broadcast.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And you had some questions there, and we're going to pop up pictures, and we're going to get through this as quick as possible.
All right. In 1956,
yes,
while in the Air Force, you were stationed in
Tripoli, Libya. That's hard to say.
Tripoli, Libya. How did it come about that your first television interview subject was Edward R. Murrow?
Well, the announcer, it was a beautiful bass, by the way, clean and neat, and the guy that did the announcing was gone, Bill something. And the manager came down to the barracks and he asked me if I was into celebrity. And I said, yes, I was. And he said, Edward R. Murrow is coming over for a while. So I went down, and if we can show the picture of Edward, I think he was doing See It Now, and he was going up to Wiesbaden, Germany from there. And the fans were blowing, and the Klieg lights were hot, and he lit one cigarette after another and almost asphyxiated me. But he was a little bit in disfavor with the CBS honchos, and I think about a year or a year and a half later, that was the end of Edward R. Murrow. And but I really liked him. Okay, what do we have next?
But you did get back to California.
Yeah, I did. I came back to California, and I went to work for KGMS and then KXOA, and the manager came over and asked me if I'd like to interview Eartha Kitt. And I said, oh, sure, I would. Well, the El Rancho was right next to the station. And so I went and knocked on her door, and she came, and she answered it in a teddy and high heels. And she was pretty flirtatious, and I just got married about a month before. And I said, I hope you won't take this wrong, but I just got married. And that was Eartha Kitt.
I remember she did a song called
Santa Baby?
Santa Baby.
Yeah,
I never
right.
thought about Santa Claus the same way after that. So in a couple of years, you made a move across town to KXOA.
Yeah.
What was KXOA?
Well, it was a radio station, and I was program director, and Max Baer, the ex-heavyweight champion, I was USO, singing one night, and he came up and approached me, and he said, you need a manager. So he got me a job at the Bar of Music, and head disc jockey in town there was playing my records down in Bermuda. And Max Baer was a wonderful guy. He kept me informed, and he came out to the base, and he was a wonderful man. And he was huge. His hand was twice as big as mine.
He was a fighter, wasn't he?
Yeah, yeah. He was heavyweight champion.
Okay. How did you end up in San Diego for, what was it, close to 17 years?
Yeah, 17 years. I worked at KXOA, and I got a lot of print. I don't know why, but I got a lot of print there, and interviewed Walter Winchell, and he put me in his column. He was going out to Del Mar, and these aren't great pictures, but that's Walter Winchell, and he was quite a guy. I couldn't get him off the air. He just kept talking.
I think I remember him too.
Yeah. Now, I should point out that Wiley just got here, and he drove all the way from Cambria, San Simeon, and he hasn't had a chance to look at these over. So,
well, you're taking a chance that I can read these things. So you left San Diego to go to Bakersfield?
yeah.
Why was that?
Oh, my mentor, Bill Elliott, was there, and I just wanted to learn. Well, he paid me the same thing as the San Diego rates, and I thought I could learn something. And so we went across the Steinhaus one day, and I thought he was going to compliment me, and he said, "You haven't got it yet." But we remained friends, and he's been dead a long time.
Did you sing at
Oh,
some
yeah.
venues there?
Yeah, Jasmine Tree and several other places. I never took a job as a disc jockey that I didn't clear it that I could sing in nightclubs.
Okay. So you married Stormy in
Yeah.
1964,
Yeah.
and been married ever since.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Lasted.
Yeah. How did you lose the job in Bakersfield?
They sold it. They sold the station, and then I called Dick Roberts in San Diego, and he said no. And he called me back, and he said, "Well, would you meet me at one of the hotels?" And so I met him. My back went out before I met him, and I walked in on the cane. We got there early, and he hired me back.
Back to San Diego.
Back to San Diego.
And were you promoted?
Yeah, they had the President Street at the Grand Hotel, and they had all the media there and all the advertising agencies, and we had a grand old time. Kogo Radio was really wonderful to me.
Oh, that's nice to know. Did you pull a 10 to 2 shift for years?
Yeah, I did.
In San Diego?
Yeah. And the manager came over after I was getting off the air, and he said, I'd been on about a week, and he said, "I want you to sing on the Regis Philbin show." And so I think Regis, he was getting Jerry Lewis and a lot of the wrestlers and Ricardo Montalban and people like that. And I sang on it about 3 times. Regis and I never became friends until he backed up Joey Bishop. He called me one night, and he said, I was working the late shift then for somebody, and he said, "Joey and I are Farmers Market, would you play this?" And he invited us up, and we did, and go see him. And Joey Bishop wasn't there that night, and we went back and said hello to Regis, and he had Johnny Mathis, Jody Miller. Remember her?
Vaguely.
Yeah.
Vaguely.
And Banana in the Ear. Steve, what was his name?
Steve Allen.
No.
Banana in the Ear.
Yeah, Banana in the Ear.
I'll think of it later, I'm
okay.
sure.
Okay.
The Rick Martel Show, brought to you in part by Ben's Computer, 983 West Grand Avenue in Grover Beach. Home Instead Senior Care in Pismo Beach. To us, it's personal.
Did you become involved in golf or interviewing golfers? Or?
Yeah, we were at Torrey Pines, and I met a lot of golfers. let's see. These aren't pictures from him. Met Bob Hope and Fred McMurray, Jack Lemmon. The list goes on and on.
Did you interviewed them?
Yeah. Jonas Salk, that was a big interview. And there's Bob Hope with my wife and I. He was playing, I think he was 91 then, and it was at Cal Poly, and I was the MC, and he agreed to have a picture. And then later on, we went to his home in Toluca Lake, and I interviewed him and sang, what memories? Thanks for the memories.
Thanks for the memories. Yeah, right. Yeah.
And a little later on, he sent me a book, and if we can change pictures here. Well, anyway, he sent me a book, and it said, "Time for another duet." Oh, there's the Bob Hope thing.
Oh.
To Rick, ready for another duet, Bob Hope.
Bob Hope.
Yeah.
In 1969, you interviewed Clint Eastwood and Lee Marvin.
Oh yeah, I went to Painter Wagon premiere in L.A. and the pictures were burned in a house fire, so I don't have those. But Clint Eastwood, he was sitting on the couch and all down like that, and Lee Marvin was out of it, and I went down. This was the big hotel in L.A. And I went downstairs and I bought a long Panatella cigar and pulled it out and then cracked him up. And Lee Marvin, we went out on the balcony and we had a cigarette and I said, I remember you in Gorilla at Large, and he cracked up with Anne Bancroft and Raymond Burr. And so we got along good. Then they invited me to have lunch. And Clint said he was coming off a movie called Beguiled with Geraldine Page. He said, I'm going to direct the next one. It's Play Mystery for me, and you're a disc jockey. And he described her, and I said, that's the story of my life.
I hope not literally. I remember that movie. It was very scary.
Yes, it was.
Could you tell us about the interviews you did at the NBC affiliates meeting in Hollywood that year?
Yes, I could. I met Stuart Granger. There he is there. He was he didn't want to come. He was supposed to Men of Shiloh, but I remembered him from Prisoner of Zenda and Scaramouche. And I asked, he had a 12-minute dueling scene with Mel Ferrar at the end of Scaramouche, and I asked him how the tights felt, and he said they were very uncomfortable. And he loved my wife. That was 1969, and that was the day we landed on the moon.
July 20th, 1969.
You're right.
You mean he didn't have a double?
No. He didn't have a double.
Well, he must have been trained. He must have been trained.
He was a trained fencer, yeah. And Mel Ferrer took lessons. It was a great fencing scene. One of my favorite. That one and Three Musketeers with Gene Kelly, whom I interviewed. There's Burl Ives. A little bit of Tear Let Me Down. He's a big man. Look at that guy.